start the meeting, and I'll call the meeting to order with the land acknowledgement. And we acknowledge that we live, work, and gather on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin people, specifically the Temiskaming First Nation. We recognize the presence of the Temiskaming First Nation in our community since time immemorial and honor their long history of welcoming many nations to this beautiful territory and uphold and uplift their voice and values. With that, I'll ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. All members are present.
Councillor Hewitt's coming by video, so that's great. Item number 3, review of revisions or deletions to the agenda. Anybody got anything they would need to add or delete to the agenda at this point? If not, I've got a motion be resolved the City Council approves the agenda as printed. Moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to the first question and answer period. Is anybody on the chat box? Any questions at this point? No. Okay, well, there's no presentations tonight. We'll move right into item 10, the communications. I did miss something. Sorry, I jumped too fast. Okay. Item number 6, review and adoption of the council minutes. I got a motion be it resolved that City Council approves the following minutes as printed. A, the regular meeting of council held on October the 4th, 2022. Moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor LaFerrier. Any comments on the set of minutes, errors or omissions? All in favor? That is carried. And there are no meetings for public meetings pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, or other statutes. And there's no presentations. Moving into 10A, communications. Letter from Ronald Rivard, the Secretary for the Temiskaming Municipal Association, regarding a resolution for support from the town of Latchford for the water management plan for the Montreal River. And that was received for information on September 27th. I've got a motion be resolved the City Council agrees to deal with communication items 10A through according to the agenda references. Moved by Councillor Foley, second by Councillor Hewitt. Any comments, direction on that? Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to suggest that that be brought back, but maybe not until new council's had a few meetings under their belt and then have a better understanding of what the water management plan is.
Yeah, it may affect us, it may not, so we need some more information there. So, okay, we'll bring that back in December to the new council. Any other comments? All in favor? That is carried. Item number 11, the committees of council, community and regional. I got a motion be resolved the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes of the Climate Change Committee meeting held on August 18, 2022. B is the minutes of the Temiskaming Shores Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting held on September the 21st, 2022. C is the minutes of the Temiskaming Transit Committee meeting held on September the 28th and another one on October the 5th, 2022. D, the minutes of the Recreation Committee meeting held on September the 12th, 2022. So we're moving a second for that motion. Councillor LaFerrier, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments on those 4 sets of minutes? 5 sets, 5 sets. All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to item 12, the committees of council, the internal departments. I got a motion to be resolved the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held on September the 22nd, 2022. B is the minutes of the Building Maintenance Committee meeting held on September the 22nd, 2022 as well. C is the minutes of the Corporate Services Committee meeting also held on September 22nd. And D is the minutes of the Protection of Persons and Property Committee meeting held on September the 22nd as well. And lastly, the minutes of the Corporate Services Audits Committee held on September the 30th, 2022. So we're moving to seconder, Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor LaFerrier. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. Reports by members of council. Okay, Councillor McCarthy is going to give us an update on the Temiskaming Transit Committee and what's happening there. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mayor Kidd. To Temiskaming Transit, representing the city of Temiskaming Shores and the town of Cobalt, have been well served for many years by stock transportation. The current transit agreement is set to expire December 31st, 2022. an extension to the current contract was not achievable, and notice of non-renewal was received in September. The Transit Committee over the spring and summer months has reviewed, deliberated at length, and ultimately resolved to draft a request for proposal for transit service with an improved scope of services. The upcoming municipal election made it challenging to engage in negotiations with the legislative restrictions placed on the municipal councils of both the City of Temiskaming Shores and the Town of Cobalt. Transit service is vital to our communities, and the municipalities invite interested proponents to submit a proposal. It is the municipality's hope that all available transportation companies show interest in the request for proposal and supply options for the new transit agreement based on the requirements set out in the request for proposal. Currently, there is no expected interruptions in service, and operations remain status quo.
Thank you, sir. Any questions regarding transit? Doug, you had a comment as well? Report? Report? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a couple of things for you, Your Worship. First of all, on a sad note, Roy Nightingale passed away last Friday, 99 years old. He's our last surviving in our branch World War II veteran. There will be a Legion and a regular funeral held on November 4th at Perrins. To the other business, we had a Police Service Board meeting on Monday, and went well. I just wanted to put that in there just so that you're aware that was my last meeting with the board. So I encourage the new council as soon as possible to get a Police Service Board in position. They are telling us through OAPSB and the Solicitor General's office that we should have news on our detachment boards by the end of November, and that the new act will come into play in the summer or fall of 2023. But I will be candid and say that we've been hearing this for a while, so we'll see if it actually transpires. But it is quite important, so that's why I would encourage the new council to get a police service board in place as soon as possible. The only other item I have, Your Worship, is I am chair of Zone 1A of Policing Services, which runs basically from Highway 17 from Mattawa to Sault Ste. Marie up through Wawa and to the coast. I chair the zone, and I will be attending a meeting tomorrow evening in Temiskaming, which again will be my last meeting of that. So I will also be encouraging the zone to at least get a temporary chair in place to be able to transition through this. And with that, I do have OAPSB business in November. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. That would have been my last, but I cannot attend due to my obligations as President of the Legion and Remembrance Day falling that week. Thank you.
How many years, Doug, have you been on the Police Service Board? 12 now, or more than that?
I've been on our Police Service Board for 12. I've been on OAPSB for 8.
Okay, well, congratulations, and thank you for your service on that board there. That's great. Other comments? Dan? Report?
Yeah, just for the benefit of our manager of recreational services and environmental services, we've had an ongoing problem with one call having our locates done. So Matt was nice enough to share details with me, and just for your benefit so that you're aware that that's been presented to the employees for the Association of Municipalities of Ontario that are working with the province, and it's been in front of the relevant ministers. So while I make no promises, it is getting some attention at the provincial level. So I'll just leave it with that, just so you're aware. Thank you.
Any other reports from members of council? Since we're nearing the end of our term of council, I'd like to take this opportunity to provide a wrap-up of our accomplishments over the last 12 years. And I think we live in a beautiful city, and council staff have spent millions of grant dollars and taxpayer dollars upgrading our waterfront, renewing our marina docks, paving the Staddle Trail, and rebuilding the boardwalk. We have also upgraded all our parks parks with new playground equipment, complete with rubberized surfaces. The Carter Antilla Skateboard Park was a huge hit with the kids, and we thank all those that fundraised for this project. Another huge improvement to city services is our recycling program and enhanced garbage collection program. This has made us a leader in the area and extended our landfill site capacity by years, and plans are now in place to open the new site early next year, or sometime next year. So, providing water and sewer services to our ratepayers requires constant upgrades, and when we connected the Nilisquard and Diamond water systems to allow the expansion in Diamond, and have replaced the iron removal filters in Nilisquard to improve the water quality. To improve water service into North Cobalt, we've also added the twinning line down Niven Street. The Grey Road sewage pumping station was replaced, along with adding a pumping station at the corner of Robert and Elm Streets to eliminate sewage backups north of the Wateree River. I listened to candidates promising to upgrade all our roads to eliminate the number of water break repairs that we do. With the enhancements to Northern College, with them building a new residence, we provided additional water and sewer capacity by redoing Latcher Street, including water, sewer, storm piping, curbs, sidewalks, and new pavement. Cost at that time was $4.3 million, probably close to $6 million in today's dollars. So, a difficult decision was also made to close and sell the two old libraries and revamp the old medical center to a new, modern, accessible library, along with developing a satellite library branch at Northern College. This future vision has became a win-win situation for all involved. Transit services have also been enhanced with bigger, modern buses and covered bus shelters, and we are, I believe, the smallest community in Ontario to still actively provide transit service, moving people between Cobalt, North Cobalt, Hillsbury, and Nilisquard and Diamond. Bridge and culvert inspections that we do every couple of years alert us to the needs of repairs and replacements to bridges, like the two that we replaced on Unit Park Road. Another question that came up at the debate was the support of the Temiskaming Regional Airport. For less than $10 per capita, the city continues to support the services that it provides: emergency air ambulance, tourism, business charters, and a few years back, the M&R base for fighting the Lady Evelyn fire south of Layout Lake. Key support of our aging population was the donation of land and support for a new $17 million seniors apartment building, and the board of directors of this private not-for-profit facility is very appreciative of the assistance provided by the city on that project. Ongoing projects for this year is the completion of the $5 million capital roads program, the new Hillsbury Fire Hall, the pool fitness building roof that will be completed very shortly, accessibility upgrades to the John Shepton Arena, and the rotary splash pad to be finished in the spring. And the Grant Drive extension, when finished next year, will attract new commercial development in that area, as well as easing the traffic concerns for places like the new lodge being built. This council is very proud of what we have been able to accomplish over the last term, and for some of us, the last 2 or 3 terms. The city is a much more desirable place to live and work, and we are realizing this by the number of new people moving to this region. We've had to make a few staffing changes over the past couple of years, but we have been very fortunate to have hired some excellent staff. And our Public Works and Recreation staff continue to do an excellent job, and I would be remiss if I did not thank them all. If anybody asks me if I have any regrets over the last 12 years, I only have one. We have over the years rebuilt the trust between council and staff. Gone are the days of threatening to privatize our public works operation. Gone are the days of lawsuits and mass hirings and firings. Up until recently, staff felt they had the support of council and felt that they were doing an excellent job and were appreciated. That was all thrown away with council's handling of the animal control contract. Council members questioned the honesty and integrity of our longtime city manager and our corporate services director for the way they handled the RFP and the review process. My son did everything right and followed all the procedures requested in the animal control RFP that council had approved before it was sent out. I did everything right and declared my conflict of interest. The fact is that a lobbyist group organized by the current animal control contractor working for the city was allowed to take over a formal council meeting. These people were allowed to harass and intimidate staff, intimidate our council members, and allowed to throw slanderous accusations at staff, my son, and myself, without any members of council taking control of the meeting. not being allowed to be part of these proceedings or making any comments because of my declared conflict should not have provided the presenters and the social media followers the opportunity to make all these kinds of unfounded allegations and throw insults. Chris Osmond and Shelley Dubert were never given the chance to explain their administrative report and their recommendations. A city contractor was allowed to bully our staff, bully and make terrible accusations to a rival bidder, and then to be rewarded with a contract extension by council, despite all the complaints made by the public. This has been a very sad ending to a great term of council. And with that, we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. New business, 15A. Memo CS 043-2022, the deeming bylaw for Levier at 864-512 Unit Park Road. And I got a motion whereas the owner of 884-512 Unit Park Road would like to merge lots on title through the adoption of a deeming bylaw in compliance with the Planning Act in order to create one property with one roll number. And whereas the owners have acknowledged that registration of the pending deeming bylaw on title would be at their expense. Now therefore be resolved the council for the city of Temiskaming Shores hereby direct staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to deem Plan M104NB, BLKA lots 13 to 15, part lots 12, 17 to 20, PCL 22945, SST parcel 22946, SST to no longer be lots on a plan of subdivision, and further that council hereby directs staff to prepare the necessary deeming bylaw for consideration at tonight's October the 18th regular council meeting. So you're moving and second to that motion. Councillor Ferrier, second by Councillor Jelly. Any comments? Jennifer's here to answer any questions as well. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. 15B, Administrative Report CS 042-2022, the site plan agreement for the Hillbury Schoolhouse lofts. And the motion reads that council for the city of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 042-2022, and the council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into a site plan agreement with the Hillbury Schoolhouse lofts for the property at 333 Rourke Avenue for consideration at tonight's October 18th regular council meeting. So moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? Call the question. All in favor? That is carried. 15C is Administrative Report PW 028-2022, the 2022-2023 Winter Operations Plan. And the motion reads, be it resolved the council for the city of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report PW 028-2022. The council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw for the implementation of the 2022 through 2023 Winter Operations Plan for consideration at tonight's regular council meeting. And the council directs the manager of transportation services to advise staff in the Public Works Department in writing of the intent to commence the winter operations schedule on or about Sunday, November the 6th, 2022, and conclude on or about Friday, April the 7th, 2023. So, moved by Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? Mitch is here, Steve's here. Answer any questions? All in favor of this motion? That is carried. Moving on to item 16, the bylaws, and I got a motion to be resolved the bylaw 2022-156 being a bylaw to designate any plan of subdivision or part thereof that has been registered for 8 years or more, which shall be deemed as not a registered plan of subdivision for 864-512 Unit Park Road. Bylaw 2022-157 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan control agreement with Hillbury Schoolhouse lofts for 333 Rourke Avenue. And lastly, bylaw 2022-158 being a bylaw to adopt the 2022-2023 Winter Operations Plan for the city of Temiskaming Shores. These bylaws be hereby introduced and given first and second reading. So moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor LaFerrier. Any comments? All in favor? And motion be resolved the bylaw 2022-156, 157, and 158 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Moving to seconder, Councillor Ferrier, second by Councillor MacArthur. Last chance to make any comments. All in favor? That is carried. So the next scheduled meeting, the final regular meeting of council, will be held Tuesday, November the 1st for this council at 6 p.m. And then the inaugural meeting for the new council will be held on Monday, November the 21st at 6 p.m. So we've reached our second question and answer period. Yes, sir, at the back. Who wants to go first?
If I had Boston hat, I would be aggressive.
Good evening, sir.
First of all, I used to come to a lot of meetings until the COVID hit, and this used to be a pretty jolly council. I think I've come to a wake here tonight. No matter what happened, one meeting or two meetings, you guys should all be proud of what you did in 4, 8, 12 years. For that part, I got to congratulate you. For the old guys that are retiring, job well done. Okay, now I got a few items, Your Worship. If I couldn't see, and I've been waiting quite a while, and I've had some people approach me to bring up some items. And one item that is really concerning people is the obstruction of view at intersections. There's one really bad one in particular, and that's the southwest corner of Morissette Drive and Georgina. There is a humongous cedar tree right on the corner, past the stop sign, on municipal property, which totally obstructs that. Now, in the morning, there are numerous school buses come around that corner that is making a left turn. And if you're walking where you're supposed to on the left-hand side, you have to either bail out onto the lawn or onto the snowbank. At my age, I'm too old to do either one. So all I do is I make the sign of the cross and hope I'm going to survive. That's a very dangerous corner. If you're going south and making a right turn to go on to Morissette, you have to put your nose at least 50% out on that laneway. I would really, really hope the town would take a look at that.
Mitch is making notes. I can see him making notes right there now, so
Because
keep track of that.
there is going to be an accident happen sooner or later, and I'd hate to be the guy to come in here and say, I told you so. It's extremely dangerous.
I'm glad you're bringing it up, so we now know about it. So.
Yeah. Now, going on to another item, the shuffleboard court in Far Park is an eyesore. The screens are broken. The roofs are torn apart. And the kids are jumping over the wires and having fun. It's so bad, in fact, there's trees growing inside that court. So something should be done. That is a really eyesore. It's an eyesore on the community.
Okay, we've got a recreation director, Matt, taking notes as well. So.
Yeah, well, there's nobody, since the COVID, there's nobody using it, nobody taking care of it.
Needs
And unfortunately, a lot of the ones that did take care of it, like Don Buzan and all that, and Richard, they've all passed away, so they're not going to be taking care of it anymore.
Well, some of you will be using it next spring for sure. So.
Yeah. And would it be possible to have your road patcher go down the pavement sidewalk from Morissette Drive to Carter Boulevard and fill all of those cracks? There's numerous cracks. They filled the ones that were right down and maybe 3 or 4 inches wide. They did some of that. But there's numerous cracks in that thing. It doesn't have to be that bad. We're not a town that we're back in the 1900s where the sidewalks crumble, then you might take a look at it.
This is when they're paving there?
Just pavement, yeah. The whole sidewalk is a pavement and an extension of the Stato Trail, which we boast about, and rightfully so. But that's a crying shame there.
I think when Millers were paving that, they didn't use that buggy to make a continuous flow all the way through. They were just using individual trucks backed up to the paver when they did that portion. So that's the problem we ran into there. So.
And another one that somebody brought to my attention, this is a little humorous, when Joyal Drive was redone. Now here's the scenario. On Monday, they had the sweeper do the whole street. Wonderful job. On Wednesday, they had the road patcher go and do all the holes. Wonderful job. On Friday, they dug it all up. I think there was lots of money wasted on behalf of this town. They dug it all up and took all the pavement out. So why did we sweep it and then patch it and then take it out? It was just a curious resident brought that to my attention. I said, well, come to think of it, you're right, I was there.
I don't know the answer to that one, so.
No, I think that's a miscommunication here someplace.
Yeah.
And the last item I had is, I have to commend the council, or I don't know, whoever was responsible for your online voting. That has to be the even I can do it. That has to be the easiest thing to vote that I ever seen in my life. It's well documented. Your letter is extremely well explained. If you can't follow that, or you're in bad shape. And I have to congratulate you. That was a job well done.
Now, we had a company come to us almost a year ago now, I guess, and present the idea of being able to do online voting, and they had all the capabilities. They'd done it in a number of other cities before that. So council, it's almost a year ago now, we voted in favor of doing that online voting, and Kelly's been in charge of it all, done an excellent job.
Congratulations, job well done.
She wants some holidays now, so don't praise her too much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Robert.
I too would like to thank all council members and your worship for their service to the community. I especially want to thank them for having the insight of keeping Buck Park open and the insight for future tourism possibilities for Temiskaming Shores. Buck Park has much potential, so does to the other end of the extremes, Pete's Dam, and always in between you have your Staddle Trail. So I think tourism, with the call being gone, we'll still have to look at tourism as a potential industry that can keep Temiskaming Shores alive and well into the future. So thank you all.
Thank you. No, I think we've realized now that Buck Park can be run in a manner where it doesn't lose a whole lot of money, and we're going to invest in that new floor as soon as we get some bids back in, replacing the floor in the chalet, and hopefully that'll make things even better down there. They can provide some other services down there as well, and hopefully we can expand it and put some more parking space in there and make it even better.
Yeah, we're looking at it as a destination target, destination. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Thanks, Robert. So, any other questions at this point? So, if not, there's no closed session tonight. We have a confirming bylaw. Be resolved that bylaw 2022-159, being a bylaw to confirm certain proceedings of the council of the corporation of the city of Temiskaming Shores for its regular meeting held on October the 18th, be hereby introduced and given first and second reading. So, we're moved by Councillor Ferrier, second by Councillor Jelly. All in favor? That is carried. And second last motion, be resolved that bylaw 2022-159 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporal seal affixed thereto. Moving to seconder, Councillor Foley, second by Councillor Hewitt. So, all in favor? That is carried. And last motion for tonight's meeting, be it resolved that council hereby adjourns this meeting at 6:28. So, moved by Councillor MacArthur. Second by Councillor Foley. So, all in favor? We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. So.